Everyone thought Ike was a weak human, but he became the strongest magician in the demon army. Ike was such a powerful magician that he was promoted to the rank of commander, allowing him to lead his troops on the battlefield. His next mission was to conquer the impregnable fort of Arsenam. On the battlefield, humans and monsters fought fiercely, killing each other by the thousands to prove their superiority. Ike stood on a cliff, watching the massacre below. After a long struggle, the demon army finally managed to break through the main gate of the castle and enter. However, the humans did not give up and fought bravely, sacrificing their lives to defend their castle. Inside the castle, the human Lord Commander watched the battle from his window. He was safe inside the castle walls while the chaos unfolded outside. Suddenly, Ike decided to pay the Lord Commander a visit, wanting to stop the loss of so many lives. The commander turned around and immediately recognized Ike, as his tales were told everywhere. Ike introduced himself as the leader of the 7th Legion of the Demon King Army, known as the Immortal Brigade. He gave the commander 3 options for his future. The first option was to surrender calmly and become a prisoner of war. The second option was to kill himself to save his honor. The third option, if he had no honor, was to climb out the window and run away. The commander smirked and said he refused to choose any of the options given by a scum who betrayed his own race. He rushed forward with his sword to attack Ike. However, Ike easily knocked him out with a simple swipe of his wand. Just then, Ike's personal assistant, a pig, appeared and asked what should be done about the prisoners of war. Ike turned around and told Pig to heal the commander and anyone who surrendered without a fight. This surprised Pig and a mysterious woman watching through a crystal ball. She was impressed that Ike had captured such an important castle with just 1 brigade. Ike then created a magical barrier around the entire area, preventing anyone from entering the battlefield. He looked outside and saw many human casualties and injuries being treated by demons. Feeling bad about the atrocities, Ike wished there was no need for war. However, he had no choice but to continue fighting because he was actually a human wearing a demon mask. Ike had been abandoned at birth, but was taken in by a demon magician named Romberg. Romberg was an incredible magician and teacher who dreamed of a time when humans and demons could live together in peace. He taught Ike everything he knew about magic. Before Romberg died, he told Ike to always wear the mask and robe. If the Demon King found out Ike was human, he would be tortured and killed immediately. Ike sat down in a chair and put a magic field around the room to prevent anyone from entering without his permission. Suddenly, he noticed a trembling maid hiding under the table. She started apologizing and crying, saying she didn't see anything. In her panic, she hit her head on the table and knocked herself out. Ike wondered how to handle this situation, but decided to think about it later. As Pig calls Ike outside, they walk through the streets, witnessing the destruction caused by the war. Pig asks Ike why they spare so many humans. Ike replies that the current Demon King only cares about results, not how they are achieved. Pig argues that many demons think Ike is too lenient on humans and suggests it would be better to kill all the residents and set the streets on fire. Ike disagrees, explaining that they need humans to pay taxes because war is expensive. He adds that Arsenam is a trade city, so humans are needed to manage it. Pig struggles to understand when Ike suddenly stops as a group of humans approaches. Pig warns them to back off, but Ike tells them to speak. One of the residents asks how much more tax they will have to pay the demon army. To their surprise, Ike says the taxes will remain the same, which makes them happy. However, he warns them that if they try to oppose the army, they will be punished. While speaking, Ike suddenly disappears in a bright light, leaving Pig surprised. Ike finds himself in a dark dungeon and is immediately attacked by a giant monster. He dodges the blow and runs, shouting at a mysterious woman not to summon him like this. The demon keeps attacking, so he pulls out a wand and uses a special magic attack to kill it. Unfortunately, the scene is too dark to see clearly because the editors forgot to brighten it. The woman appears beside him and says that the last time she saw him, he was just a kid who used to hide behind Romberg. She notices that the golem was strong, showing Ike's growth and power. The woman, Saphiro, is Ike's superior and the only demon who knows his secret. She tells him not to worry about being summoned abruptly, saying it's more fun that way. Ike asks if he is there to report on the war efforts, but Saphiro says she already saw everything and that his execution was flawless. She tells Ike that the Demon King wants to meet him, which surprises him because a Demon King wouldn't usually meet a mere brigade leader. When Ike asks what the reason is, Saphiro explains that the king is interested in how he managed to take Arsenam in just a week. She then teleports them to the Demon King's castle, which impresses Ike with its size. As they approach the main gate guarded by demons, Ike asks Saphiro if he will be checked before entering. Saikyou replies that the Demon King is the most important person in their world, so everyone is checked. Ike feels nervous about revealing his identity, but the guards are impressed by his magic aura and allow them through, recognizing him as Romberg's grandson. They walk through the hallway with Saikyou flying beside him. Ike reflects on how he isn't as skilled at flying as she is. When they reach the courtroom entrance, Saikyou instructs him to wait. During this time, Ike thinks about the Demon King Darrow, known for his competence and ruthlessness. He remembers how the humans were winning the war until Darrow single-handedly turned the tide in a decisive battle. Darrow is strict towards incompetence but rewards talent and skill, regardless of nobility. Saikyou eventually returns and calls Ike inside. He enters with his head bowed, expecting to meet the Demon King, but is surprised to see a girl sitting on the throne. Initially, he mistakes her for the Demon King's daughter. He quickly realizes she is Darrow and bows respectfully. Darrow is impressed by how fast he captured Arsenam and questions his reluctance to unnecessarily kill humans. Ike argues that instilling fear doesn't create loyalty. Instead, competent leadership earns human support. Intrigued, Darrow teleports in front of Ike and demands to see his true face before leaving. Terrified, Ike sighs in relief and learns he will rule over Arsenam as a reward. Back in Arsenam, Ike finds the maid named Sadie awake and apologizing. He assures her safety and appoints her as his personal maid, promising to keep his secret. Surveying the damaged city, Ike realizes the defenses need urgent repair. Pig estimates it will take 6 months, but Ike insists on completing it in 1 month. He organizes a joint effort between humans and demons to work around the clock. Witnessing Ike's brilliance and effective leadership, Pig is moved to tears and hopes that Ike might one day become the Demon King. Sometime later, Ike received news from the Demon King that he needed to gather information about a potential alliance forming among the human kingdoms. In the recent battle, the demons faced a large human army that couldn't have come from just one kingdom. Sadie had grown comfortable with Ike, so he took her with him to a nearby kingdom for reconnaissance. While there, Sadie got distracted by a trickster, but Ike quickly exposed the scam. As they walked and enjoyed some fruit, Ike expressed to Sadie his belief that the humans were indeed uniting to form an alliance. Sadie seemed confused, so Ike explained that historically, when faced with a life-threatening threat like the Demon King, humans put aside their differences and joined forces from all kingdoms to fight against the demon army. According to Ike, this alliance has happened 3 times before in history. Each time, the alliance defeated the entire demon army and pushed them all the way back to their castle. Sadie asked if humans would win this time too, which confused Ike because he felt he should support humans. She replied that humans had never treated her well, they had enslaved her. If the demon army hadn't invaded, she would have been stuck like the other slave children in a cage forever. Ike realized how cruel societies can be. He reassured Sadie that the current Demon King is the wisest and strongest in centuries. Before they could talk more, a voice interrupted them. Ike turned around and saw the trickster, a hefty man, shouting at him for exposing their scams. Sadie told them that it was their fault for running a scam, but the trickster got angry and said that Ike would have to pay for ruining their scheme. Ike became annoyed and quickly checked if anyone was around. Then he pulled out his magic wand and used ice magic to freeze the feet of the hefty man. The trickster was shocked to discover Ike's magical abilities. Before he could react, Ike conjured several icy spears and aimed them at the trickster, demanding an apology. The trickster thought Ike was bluffing and started insulting him, but Ike stabbed him in the arm with one of the spears to show he was serious. Afterward, Ike questioned the trickster about any information regarding the kingdom's affairs. Fearing for his life, the trickster confessed that the kingdoms had formed an alliance, but the kingdom of Rosaria was planning a surprise attack on the demons to gain an advantage and fame. Ike found this plausible and asked where the attack was planned. Surprisingly, the trickster knew all the details about the war plans and revealed that the city of Arsenam was the target due to its current weak defenses. With the information he needed, Ike and Sadie returned to their city to strategize for the upcoming defense. That evening, the army of Rosaria sent a battalion to invade the city of Arsenam. Before they could prepare their siege weapons, skeletons suddenly emerged from the ground. Their leader Ali ordered them to maintain formation, dismissing the skeletons as weak. Little did they know, they had walked into an ambush. Arrows rained down on them like a storm, while orcs emerged from the jungle, smashing into their ranks. Ali quickly realized they were caught in a trap that could devastate their entire battalion. She swiftly ordered her soldiers to form a retreat and ensure no one was left behind. Meanwhile, Ike and Piggy observed the unfolding chaos from the city walls. Lord Piggy commended Ike acknowledging that without him, they would have fallen prey to the surprise attack. Before Ike could respond, however, an arrow struck him from behind, causing him to collapse unconscious to the ground. When Ike woke up, he found himself in bed with Saphiro, who explained that Piggy had called her to heal Ike after he was injured. She said that without her quick action, Ike might have died. Saphiro praised Ike for stopping the surprise attack, but mentioned that human casualties were very low again. She warned Ike that repeated minimal human losses might make the Demon Lord suspicious. Ike responded that his main goal was to create a world where both humans and demons could live together peacefully, just as Romberg had envisioned. She tells him to be careful and then disappears. Ike calls over Piggy and asks him to find out what happened to the commander of the human forces. Piggy explains that the commander was imprisoned by her senior officer, who accused her of dishonor for retreating from the battlefield. The next morning, Ike decides to go to the prison where she's held because he wants to meet her. However, he ends up being followed by Lilith, his subordinate, who he finds very irritating. He tells her to stay quiet or leave, but she sticks with him as they watch the few guards outside the prison. She asks if she should knock out the guards so he can enter, but Ike says he doesn't want to cause a scene right now. Before he can stop her, though, Lilith goes ahead and defeats the guards, insisting she didn't kill them, which Ike had hoped for. They enter the prison, which is larger than he expected, and he realizes it will take more time to find the commander. However, Lilith gets information from one of the guards by force, who reveals that the commander is on the top floor and even gives them the keys. As they headed towards the stairs, more guards noticed them and attacked. Lilith gave Ike the keys and told him to go ahead while she dealt with them. Ike moved onward, briefly looking back to see Lilith easily handling the guards before continuing. He reached the top floor and unlocked the cell, only to find it empty. As he entered, the commander attacked him from behind, but he narrowly dodged. She wielded a knife and attacked again, but he dodged again and then used his staff to knock her down. He allowed her to stand up, and she questioned if he had come to mock her or to kill her. Ike responded that he had only come to ask if she had sent an assassin to infiltrate Arsenal and kill him. The woman seemed surprised and asked if he was truly asking or just bluffing, which surprised Ike. Suddenly, the sound of guards rushing to the top floor distracted them. Taking advantage of Ike's distraction, she held a knife to his throat and demanded to know if he was a demon or a human. Ike was unsure what to do, debating whether to reveal his true identity or not. With a knife pressed to his throat, Ike is questioned about his true identity, whether he is a demon or a human. Unsure of what to do, he contemplates revealing the truth. She demands an answer again while guards scatter around the prison, searching for Ike. Realizing he must act quickly, Ike uses his special magic to slow down time, surprising Allie. He reassures her it will wear off soon and casually walks past her. He moves towards the guards, who appear in slow motion, and uses his black wind magic to blow them away. Suddenly, a large knight with a morning star attacks from behind. Ike dodges the swing and uses a gravity spell to force the knight to the ground. The ramp breaks under the knight's weight, and he falls. Allie is confused about why Ike isn't killing the guards. The ground beneath her collapses and she falls, but Ike saves her by grabbing her midair and setting her down gently. He apologizes for the chaos and introduces himself as Ike, commander of the Immortal Brigade, revealing that he is a demon. Still unsatisfied, Allie refuses to disclose if she sent an assassin to kill him during their last battle. Ike decides to read her mind instead of continuing the confrontation. He learns she had nothing to do with the assassination attempt and prepares to leave despite Lilith's protests. Ike opens a portal and leaves with Lilith, leaving Ellie confused. When Ike returns to his mansion, Sadie is there to welcome him. He takes off his mask and hands her a small pouch filled with grains of rice. Sadie is confused, having never seen rice before. Ike explains that rice is much easier to grow than wheat. He further clarifies that in Arsenal, everyone grows wheat, which is hard to cultivate and requires a lot of labor. Rice, on the other hand, is simpler to grow and requires fewer farmers. This means that people can take on other jobs like being masons, chefs, or smiths, boosting the city's productivity and helping even the poorest people become middle class. Sadie is still confused, so Ike simplifies it, telling her they will have more food to sell for more money. She finally understands and asks if he knows how to cook rice. Ike admits he doesn't and assigns her the task of figuring out how to cook it so they can use it instead of wheat as their primary food. After dealing with that, Ike commands Piggy to assemble the forces and meets them in the evening. Piggy is unsure why Ike has called the entire army together. Ike reveals that the arrow used to shoot him belonged to the enemy, but he knows the enemy commander, Ali, had nothing to do with it. This means there is a spy within his own army. Ike uses his mind-reading ability to check each soldier's thoughts, eventually finding a demon who starts sweating and worrying if his cover is blown. Ike immediately teleports in front of him and confirms he is the spy extracting information from him. Later that night, Ike meets with Saikyou and tells her about the traitor in their army. Ike reveals that the traitor is Jace, the one-eyed goblin, who is the second in command of the 7th Battalion. Jace is a war-tested commander and very smart. Ike asks Saikyou what they should do, and she says they need to make him pay for his treason. The next morning, Ike goes to Jace's territory for a conversation, scaring Jace, who realizes he has been caught. Ike asks to meet alone with Jace, but Jace brings an army of goblins. Ike tells Jace he knows about his treason and is there to deliver justice. Jace mocks Ike for coming alone, thinking his army is twice the size of Ike's and ready to attack at his command. Ike laughs, saying he anticipated Jace's response. This confuses the goblin commander until an explosion is heard. Jace turns to see huge fireballs falling from the sky, causing chaos as his troops scatter. This is the work of Saikyou, who has enough magic power to turn the city to dust. She continues to rain hellfire upon the goblins. Ike hides behind a building, thinking Saikyou should go easy on the destruction since they'll have to rebuild. However, Saikyou doesn't care and keeps blasting away. She then sends her skeleton army to clean up and finish off any remaining traitors. Ike appears behind Jace, giving him two options: die a traitor or surrender. Jace, not keen on either option, orders his troops to attack Ike. They are no match for Ike, who effortlessly defeats them one by one. Jace takes advantage of the chaos, running across rooftops. A giant demon tries to punch him, but Jace dodges and uses a smoke grenade to escape into the forest. Jace looks back at the destruction and vows to destroy Saikyou. Before he can leave, a fireball hits him from behind, knocking him to the ground. He turns to see Ike, who followed him. Ike tells Jace to surrender. Angry, Jace lunges at Ike, throwing a punch, but Ike easily blocks it and tells him resistance is futile. Ike uses his wind magic to blast Jace into a tree and then binds him with magic, completely trapping him. Jace finally realizes he can't win against Ike. Instead, he tries a different approach. He admits that Ike is stronger and proposes that they join forces to overthrow the Demon Queen. Jace argues that the Queen is doing nothing while they fight the humans and that she is too emotional, preventing them from killing as many humans as they want. He suggests that he and Ike should take control and destroy the humans together. Ike, of course, refuses. Jace makes a last-ditch effort to throw a knife at Ike, but Ike easily dodges it. Ike demands to know who else is involved in the treason, but Jace stays silent. Suddenly, Saikyou arrives and starts tearing Jace apart for information. Ike tries to heal Jace, but Saikyou tells him the poison is too strong. She asks Jace to give her the name of his accomplice and promises to avenge his death. Just before he can reveal the name, Jace dies. Ike feels bad for the traitor, but Saikyou tells him to toughen up as she walks away. Later that night, Ike and Saikyou go to the Demon King's castle to meet with Darrow. Darrow asks what's going on. Saikyou reveals that the traitor is Bastio, the commander of the 2nd Battalion. Darrow asks for proof, and Saikyou explains that Bastio's vice commander tried to kill Ike to gain control over the 7th Battalion and overthrow the Demon Queen. Darrow looks behind them, and Ike realizes that the huge headless knight standing there is Bastio, the 2nd Battalion commander. This wraps up the 3rd episode of The Strongest Magician in the Demon Lord's Army was a human recap. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching.